Fire away.
So Arthur, 44 pass attempts, and time of possession. How did the offense, I know it's preseason, vanilla,
Right.
all that. How close is that, or glimpse of what you want to do this season?
Well, there's a lot of factors that play in the preseason games, and some of the stuff we're trying to get called to evaluate guys, and so you'd like to give guys the same chances, similar schemes, so you can see the same players doing, same schemes, whether it's with the ones, twos, or threes.
So you're not going to be flinging it all over the yard all season long?
Just depend on the game.
What are some of the things you've seen from Corey to take the next step? He's just looked phenomenal out there pretty much every single day.
And a lot of these guys, there's a lot of guys that have improved. There's an expectation for all of them, and we just try to go out here and improve and get better day by day. So, and with all the receiver groups, I mean, there's guys that have stepped up all over the place.
Coach Moore was talking about he's put a big emphasis this year on the little things, route running, asking good questions in meeting rooms. Is that something you've seen from him as well?
Yeah, a lot of those guys. I mean, it's you hope as he grows and going into his third year, it's he missed a lot when he was a rookie. He missed the entire spring and training camp, and then he went out there week one. It was really his first action. So he's doing a good job with that and trying to evolve his game. And
As much as you guys like Dennis, what does it do to have moving him in at left tackle? What does that do a little bit to the offense?
those are just like the situations that come up. You deal with injuries or different circumstances, and Dennis has been a guy, and a lot of guys can't handle it, but Dennis has done a good job. I mean, Dennis is the ultimate teammate. He'll move in there, and those things aren't easy to ask of certain people, but Dennis handles it like a professional. So it's nice to have guys like Dennis.
How important is it for you guys to set the tone as an offense rather than, allow the defense to dictate what you do?
Yeah, no, we have a standard what we want to play and the style of play we want. So, and the thing, especially right now, we're just focused on ourselves and how we can get better and combination blocks and route running and decision making, all that stuff. So it's been good. We just can focus on ourselves.
I know quarterbacks all play different amounts at different times. How do you think the three did on Thursday night?
They did a nice job operating when we went into that game, asking them to do. There were certain things we wanted to see on the first drive. And then with Ryan and Logan, they did a nice job as well. I mean, they handled the situations and did a nice job operating in and out of the huddle, getting the calls in. So it was good to see all three of them operate that way.
As far as Marcus, I mean, I guess in the past you kind of build up the starters' reps as the preseason goes along. You anticipate doing the same thing with him?
That'd be one for Coach Vrabel. Yeah.
Arthur, if you had to say maybe something that you learned along the way here, your first run as OC, or anything that surprised you, what would come to mind for you?
No, you just try to take in a lot of lessons you've seen other guys go through, certain situations that come up, whether it be in practice or logistically how you handle meetings or set up what you want to do in practice. Yeah, there's certain things that you plan out and that come up in the first time, like in any job you do. You have a vision of what it's going to be like, and obviously when you're actually going through it, you see what some of those things are. So there's been certain things that come up like, all right, well, next year if I'm lucky enough to do this, I would do this. Yeah, for sure.
Is there one you can think of maybe that?
No, I mean, it's just how you're going into training camp. Maybe it's the days, how you manage your time. I mean, those are things that come up when the day's trains. You just make sure you stay on point. A lot of time scripting, planning for the next day.
What was it like in the first game for you? Everything you expected?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was, I was planning to be upstairs, and obviously that there was a headset issue, and Coach Vrabel and I talked, and they got it working again, but I was paranoid that it would go out again. I was like, I don't want to be the first game I ever call, and then the thing goes out on me and like 3 plays into it. So I was a little paranoid. That's why I went downstairs.
Right.
Will you definitely stay upstairs?
I will probably try both. Again, I'll talk to Coach Vrabel about that. Thought it went smooth the other night. That the staff did a great job. Good communication all around. So it made it easy to operate for me as well.
How
What
different did it
kind of
just
goes through your mind when you're making that decision? I mean, you see the game better upstairs, or maybe you can be face to face downstairs, and how do you?
Yeah, there's advantages of both. You definitely you can map things out if you're sitting upstairs. You see it. You're away from sometimes the chaos of the sideline. But then on the flip side, downstairs, it's easy for me to walk over, talk to a different position group, talk to another coach. So there's pros and cons of both. But everybody's mind works differently. If you ask different play callers, they may see it a certain way and they like to be down there, or they're upstairs, they want to be around the noise. I just know how mine works, whether I was up or down. Like, I got to stay on track.
you got to be prepared for so many things? I mean, is that something that you actually even thought about preparing for beforehand, and how was it dealing with that?
Well, a little bit. The plan was going in, call at least the first one upstairs, and then the second one down. And obviously that changed. So it wasn't like it just was a total shock to me. I had an idea in my head, regardless of how I wanted to call the game. So just adapted to the same thing we asked the players to do.
Overall for you, your performance, how would you rate just kind of how you did and how well prepared you were? And Coach always talks about how, let's be thinking 3 plays ahead and scenarios and that type of stuff.
Yeah, it felt good. I just like a lot of things. I mean, there's things I need to get better as well. I always keep trying to improve. I mean, there's things I go back, call here or there. Like, all right, next time this is what I'll do. But it was good. But that's the thing. The same thing we ask the players. We're just constantly trying to improve, and I got to be very critical of myself as well. I mean, the easiest thing to do is to think that you've done something great, and it's you can get humbled so quickly. So I'm just trying.
I'm sorry.
What's it?
A lot of people seem to talk about your hours here as being kind of insane. What's your average day in and out?
No,
of you?
I don't want to get into that. Whatever I have to do to get the job done, I'll do it. Some of those, I don't want to be one of those guys that tries to pat yourself on the back and have these stories that, yeah, whatever. No, the job, whatever I need to do to get the job done. I don't want to be a smart.
Do you anticipate playing with that kind of pace? Like you want 89 plays a game, or to be able to run 89 plays a game and then ratchet it back if a game plan calls for less?
The time of possession, that's really a team stat. And you go look at that's a credit to the whole team, the way that we played on special teams and defense. I mean, it's hard to play that many plays if the defense isn't getting them off the field as well. It was just our operation, the one we wanted to get in and out of the huddle, and the way it worked out. We ended up, they said the defense did a great job, and we were able to do that. I really had no idea until the second half, until Mike Sullivan was like, you realize we're already at 65 plays. And I was like, we are. I was just so focused on trying to stay on track, and there was things we were trying to do with all 3 groups. But, yeah, and you get into certain games, and you're playing live games, and you get into that, and if you've got that kind of pace, if there's sure we'll change the tempo to come back if we needed to go in a 4-minute offense or whatever we need to do.
Would you like to be at the line still with the open line of communication?
Yeah, it would depend on what situations we're in and what we're like. If you're in no huddle or you're in your base offense, like those all factor into it. Or you get into 2-minute, there's some things that you would like to stay in there. Really, the biggest focus was us. It was on me to get the call in and to just operationally get us out of the huddle. And so I thought the quarterbacks did a nice job with that.
Tannehill said you guys, you and he, have done a good job, sorting through the book and finding out what works for him. Marcus said the same thing. How is that quarterback room, with you in there, how is that functioning?
It's been good. We have an open line of communication. You just got to be honest, and some of those relationships develop organically. And we have conversations every morning, and there are certain things that I press these guys out here that we're trying to work on as we're building towards the regular season, especially in situations. There's stuff you try out here because you don't want it to be the first time you get into the game, and then all of a sudden it's week 12, and you see something, and it's like, well, we've never thrown that route, and then you're just kind of wishing and hoping at that point. So there's things out here, and some days I kick myself. I'm like, probably try to do too much, or we're adapting in different situations. You're asking guys to throw certain routes. You're trying to see who can run certain routes and what throws they're comfortable making.
And then Marcus, he said that he spoke to you and you told him you want him to play freely. How important is it for you to allow his athletic ability to be showcased as a quarterback?
Yeah, we want to be smart. I mean, with that, and whether that's schematically and design stuff for him, or things naturally break down. And there's things we coach, whether he gets out of the pocket and what we're asking him to do, and there's certain play schemes we'll ask to use his talent to our advantage. But again, you got to be smart. You got to make sure you don't have diminishing returns of some of the things you ask him to do.
Arthur, what's Delaney mean to this offense?
Well, I mean, Delaney's a veteran. He's been through a lot of games, and he and I have been through a lot of systems together. And there's a lot of things that he brings to the table. And there's a comfort level with me talking to him about different schemes, and he just helps. His presence every day helps. I mean, he sets the example. And everybody's got different leadership qualities, and he's his own guy. And he's just the example he sets behind the scenes is probably the most impressive thing about him.
How much of a scramble was that looking back, week 1 last year, probably building a lot around him, and you lose him like that?
Yeah, those are things like, you learn lessons like that where I've tried to stay ahead, whether it's shuffling the offensive line, from tight ends, like how many packages you have up. And that all dictates on how many you dress on game day, too. So if you have an injury, you could be taken out of something. So make sure you have enough to go with if this happens. Same thing with receivers, depending on how many you dress there. You get into 2 minutes, there may be some weeks you got to get another tight end ready to go because if you have two receivers go down and your whole situation 2-minute stuff. So those are all things you try to work through, and that was certainly an example. That was a very strange game for a lot of different reasons. But we got to be prepared if something does happen. One guy goes down, we got to have answers, have enough offense to go with to go win the game.
What's the balance as you try to get better out here and get ready for preseason games, and also looking at Cleveland and getting ready for them?
Yeah, I mean, those things that we study or we go into the planning and you have time, but the best focus for us is us, like the improvement we make day to day, and the improvements on things we want to try. The good thing is we see a lot of looks. We give the defense a lot of looks, and like I said, we go back and there's things we want to work on, and you're trying to find what guys can do, can run certain routes or certain run schemes or linemen where there are in the rotation. If you're moving a guy from center to guard or a guard that can go out and play tackle, there's a lot of things. My mindset, and everybody's got different philosophies. It's really just been on us right now in training camp.
How's Marcus doing at eliminating stuff? Is that process on pace? Is he brisk with that?
Yeah, no, there's a comfort level, and then that was the whole big part of the reason. You don't change terminology. There's things that adapt and plays that we come up with, or things that we may tweak or read here or there for him. But he's got a pretty comfort level, and the good thing is there's an open line of communication. Like we will talk after practice, or we talk in the morning, and a lot of that too is just us getting on the same page.
What was the biggest coaching point for him for coming out of Thursday?
I'm sorry.
What was the biggest coaching point for Marcus coming out of Thursday?
It was the same with the other quarterbacks. Make sure we operate clean, get in and out, get out of the huddle, make the calls, make the checks that we put in there for him, and then get through his reads.
Hit a tough situation very first day, Arthur. AJ goes down with an injury after slipping. You don't know he's hurt, and you kind of give him a hard time about not
Yeah,
finishing.
I felt like a jerk for that.
But you don't know.
I didn't know,
but-
and I
right.
apologize to AJ. Like that's the thing.
what I was
Like,
gonna- is that kind of a learning moment for you in your job too? And did you talk to him?
sure. I mean, in the moment you go back and look at it, and we were just trying to get him to finish. And then, there's a lot of rookies. You're trying to set a culture and go on with what Coach Vrabel has done a great job of doing, and then we're trying to implement it. And a lot of rookies you're trying to remind, and that wasn't clearly the intent. If I had known he was hurt, I would not have gone over to do that. And as soon as I realized it, I felt awful. So I walked over and said something. And then I walked in the training room and apologized to him. And I told him that. And my wife gave me an earful about it too. I guess there was a video going around. I think it was your video.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
How's the H-back, F-back, fullback evolution stuff going?
It's been good. I mean, that was another situation with, you have injuries go down. I mean, obviously it's, Derek, the same thing, right? And so those other guys have done a good job stepping up, and there's things that we're trying to figure out what those backs can do. And some of those young backs have done a nice job filling up. And we've moved guys around. So there's been good competition. We're just trying to keep competition in all these things to find out who can do what roles. And there's a lot of good depth, and there's a lot of good competition going on in a lot of positions.